We're making a fold over pouch. Place your main and lining rectangles right sides together. Go ahead and place your clips on one of the short ends about 3 inches apart because we're going to sew all the way around, leaving a turning hole. For your connector piece, fold the long edges into the center and then fold the whole thing in half hot dog style. At your machine, sew an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance on the open side. With your two main pieces that are right sides together, go ahead and sew a seam at a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance all the way around, leaving that 3-inch turning hole on one of the short sides. Now you can clip your corners and also trim down any excess seam allowance. Make sure you're very careful not to clip any of your stitching that you've done. At this point, you're going to flip the project right side out. I also like to take it over to the iron at this point so that I can just get everything nice and pressed and flat. Now we're going to sew an 1/8 of an inch top stitch on both short edges, on the top and the bottom. We're going to close up that turning hole and then also sew a top stitch on the bottom. With your main fabric facing up, fold down the top 2 inches. Fold your connector in half and place under the flap. Fold up the bottom till you have a total height of about 5.5 inches. Now we're going to be back at the sewing machine and we're going to sew down both sides. I like to sew at about an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance here on both open sides. And I like to run that connector under the needle a couple times for security. Now you're ready to turn your project out. Just be careful here as you're turning it out and take a look to make sure you've got everything the way you want it. Now you can add that split ring and you're all set. That's all it takes. You've got a fold over pouch.